We, women, as a human group, have been women and people in different ways for centuries, and not just how society and patriarchal culture have told us we have to be. Many women, by ourselves or in a good company of other people, have fought with words and our own lives against the injustice of inhuman ideas that prevail. If you have certain genitals, you only have certain human capacities, or that your skin color or ethnic origins, certain bodies or sexualities, certain economic status means you have more or less right to be respected. For centuries, we have been fighting for a less unjust and violent world, for the notion of human rights, in black and white as late as in the 20th century, because it is vital that we understand that each and every person has human rights.
For centuries, we have carried the burden of having to be considered inferior to men, of needing their permission and tutelage for everything, and this cannot be overcome by pretending it didn't happen. Acknowledge, we have fought for our human identity, most of the time through non-violence. However, we are still not seen as human beings, and we still do not make it to history. We are even insulted when asked to be named.
With our first feminist cultural wit, we intend to glean our gaze in order to learn about human reality beyond the powerful cultural patriarchal conditioning. As Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie claims, culture is created by people and not the other way around. We want to learn to express ourselves, be able to hold a dialogue, and relate to each other with mutual respect. In order to achieve this, first, we should consider and listen to what we can't see or don't want to listen to know.
We women have human minds, and our long-lasting oppression has allowed us to understand ideas that have launched the fight for respect for all human identities and for the end of all the violence we justify culturally and is actually avoidable. Violence is everywhere, and we are sick and tired. We know what the problem is, how to analyze it, and what to do about it. It is necessary to take into consideration feminist analysis overcoming the anti-feminist prejudice. That will help us evolve better as human societies on this planet.
When we rescue our untold history and learn to look at the world from what we've never known, we understand that in spite of the violence we women have had to endure, they have always resisted the cancellation of their identity and transmitted that strength to whom was able to appreciate. Alice Walker, in her famous essay In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, 1974, mentions the case of enslaved black women who would have been artists in a truly human world, something we know because they managed to leave track of their creativity in amazing ways. There have also been women who managed to do what they chose to do. In ancient times, Hypatia of Alexandria, Egypt 4th, 5th century, directed one of the most important libraries in the history of humanity, thanks to her intelligence and wisdom.
More recently, 1987, the Roma poet Bronislava Wax wrote profound, wise and beautiful poems despite the hard life she had to endure. Today, we are honored to have her with us in March. Marisa Mediavilla Herreros, thanks to her knowledge and determination and the volunteer work of thousands of women, has managed since 1985 to create one of the 4 most important women's libraries in Europe, a library which in 2018 can't open to the public because there is no private or institutional support. We will consider women's contribution unimportant, denying ourselves the chance to enjoy all that intelligence and human knowledge.
Our week, Feminist Cultural Week. In our first Feminist Cultural Week, we will learn about the life and work of women who through the world, their identity and their actions have transformed and still transform the world. The Education for Equality proposal for this course is to expand our knowledge of the history of humanity by including women's lives, improving in this way our understanding of the world, making their existence visible, and also the value of their lives and contribution. The week is about serving those who dare and dare to be who they are, inspire us to learn and understand some ideas that help us rescue our humanity, reviewing who we are and who we want to be, how we want to evolve as a human being, how we want to relate to each other.
Plenary sessions on the 4th and 5th of March 2019. Our generous guests will present their talks in the hall of High School Number 1 in Fuengirola. They'll speak Spanish because we are in Andalusia and we all communicate in this language. We will also translate what we have learned into other languages, helping us transmit these realities to other cultures. Coordinator, Micaela Fort. Sara López Olvera, Granada, sociologist, Roma activist. She will speak about her thesis, Building Roma Feminism. Isabel Martín Ruiz, Huelva, poet and architect. She'll share her poems. Eva Octavia, Wrocław, Poland. She'll present a translation project on poems by B. Walks. Azor, Bogotá, Colombia, multidisciplinary artist. She'll present her novel Memoria de una niña viajera. Concha Galea, Málaga, painter. She'll present some of her works. Pilar Valderrama, Málaga, writer. She'll read a short story in her Sherazade Fue mi amiga. Elizabeth Muñoz Sánchez, Torremolinos, bilingual stories for children and teenagers. Michelle Renier, feminist writer and webmistress of the Women's Library website. Marisa Mediavilla Herreros, Palencia, Castilla León, creator, librarian and documentalist of the Women's Library. Isabel Ruiz Ruiz, Jerez, illustrator and journalist. She will speak about self-employment, crowdfunding, and her illustrated books devoted to women's achievements. Luz González Rubio, Cuenca, Castilla-La Mancha, history teacher and anti-war activist in Women in Black. She'll present her novels and tell us about women who have fought against wars. Lola Ballesteros, Granada, Toulouse, Escuela Oficial de Idioma teacher. She will present her thesis on Luis Labé. Margarita López López, Mexico, California, sociolinguist, creative writing and community magazines. Pepita Lupiáñez, Alucemas, Morocco. She'll inform us of the work of Las Kellys. Isabel Calvo and Antonella Ramos, from the Feminist Festival Enmujecer Fest Córdoba. Eire Suárez, Fuengirola, singer and songwriter. She'll share her songs.
Workshops on the 6th and the 7th of March. In the EOI Fuengirola classrooms, we will hold open workshops these days. Here we will share what we have learned or worked on during our course in German, French or English. We will listen to people who study here, individually or in teamwork, presenting their course projects devoted and dedicated to women, or sharing their updates of language in documents like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Because we want to include more people. True human diversity. Coordinator Maite Luengo.
Furthermore, there will be 2 workshops for teachers and the organizing network conducted by Auxilion, a Canary Andalusian from Miradas para la Paz, Peace Gazes, and Mujeres en Zona de Conflicto, Women in Conflict Zones, that will show us ways of teaching gender and culture, and by Ana Edilla from Coen, an expert in gender in Guadalhorce Valley, rural countryside communities, that will conduct a women-only workshop called Palabras Vida, El Cuerpo Habla, Words Life, Our Body Speaks.
Friday, 8th of March. On Friday, all of us will decide if each of us supports, in whichever way we can, a struggle that comes from antiquity, to stop the world in protest against patriarchal violence, gender violence, or sexist and misogynist violence, because mistreatment, rape, women being murdered by men is a cultural problem, not a biological destiny, and therefore we can change it.